The technology orientation for 4th and 5th grade parents. My name is Tatiana Griffin. I'm the Director of Technology and Innovation. I've been working in California private schools since 2012 when my husband and I moved to the Bay Area. Prior to this, I was working in education research, immersive reality, emerging technologies, and how to use educational gaming in schools effectively to help kids learn. Because prior to that, I was a sound designer for video games for almost a decade. I have a recording studio, also a DJ, musician, singer, performer. So kind of in the evenings, I am making music or DJing live streams and hosting events. But during the daytime, I am one of the wizards behind the curtain at Marin Horizon. So we're here, right, to get you guys oriented with the Chromebooks and some of the systems we have in place to support parents and students to be able to navigate the distance learning landscape. Knowing that very likely in the next couple of weeks, we'll be transitioning back to some form of in-person learning that may be a combination of hybrid and in-person, because I know some of you will be joining and some of you will continue to be remote. All the information that I'm sharing will still be relevant because in 4th and 5th grade, as in 2nd and 3rd, kids will still be taking their devices with them to school and bringing them home. And just know as a part of this, we've kind of come up with a cleaning protocol and a way to make sure that that is kind of sanitary and safe as we're traveling between both places. So you may have seen the Marin Horizon notice where I gave a little overview, but as I mentioned, I was in the Parent Association meeting on Friday. So there, you may remember this slide. This is kind of how I'm feeling these days. I'm sure all of you are also feel like you're balancing all these spinning plates and wish you had 3 heads and 10 arms. We have a lot going on. And one of my goals through hosting this session is essentially to get us more to a place that looks like this. So technology can be stressful, but technology can also facilitate and help to bring calm and peace if we are comfortable with it and we know what to do when things go wrong. On a high level, we're going to start off by being the student and go through some of these elements that are actually on the computers themselves. We'll talk a little bit about Google Classroom, because that's new for some of you that were using Seesaw. There's a student perspective, and then there's the Guardian summaries. I'm going to talk a little bit about safety, some of the things we've set up behind the scenes to keep your kids safe as they navigate the digital domain. I'll talk a little bit about the 3 GoGuardian apps we're using. The first one I use to filter internet and Chromebooks 24/7. We have some things in place there. There's GoGuardian that teachers use to help kids stay focused during class and have the opportunity to check and see if Bobby was playing Minecraft or Sylvie was shopping. Actually, they can't shop because I've blocked that. But basically, things that we're using as a classroom management tool. And then all of you should have received an email to set up the parent app, and we'll have some time at the end to get everybody on board for that piece, which is an exciting update. Finally, we'll end off with just some basic troubleshooting tips and tricks that includes connecting printers, making sure your internet signal is the strongest it can be, a little Zoom, and other things that might come up. So again, in this overview, we're going to take a look at what's changed and what's new. We're going to take a look at how we've tried to streamline the children's ability to get to different places that they need to get to for school. We're going to focus on keeping kids safe, and that's different at different grade levels because we've got different devices. And then we'll get into some troubleshooting. And if time allows, talk about some mindfulness in tech. So let's begin. We're going to be the students. Okay, here we go. So let's be the student. So first of all, hopefully all of you have your devices with you. And sorry, let's get through this. Okay. Okay, device overview. So this is the device that your kids are using. It's a Chromebook 500E. It is a touch screen, but also computer. So it's a convertible computer. Feel free, I saw some people already doing it, to kind of open it up all the way, see what it feels like when it's a computer that's like a tablet. And then you also, some of you may have a stylus that's in your Chromebook that's just below the keyboard. You kind of have to reach under and scoop it out. If you don't, we are going to be sending home styluses with our next home delivery of supplies. The stylus does allow kids to actually use it on the screen. And during the remote learning period, some of those went missing. So we have some backup styluses. But just know that this is a convertible laptop. We encourage kids to use it as a laptop when they're working in Google Docs or doing any sort of writing or kind of Google Slides, because we are still continuing to build. Actually, we're working on typing skills all the way down to 2nd grade now, because we think it's an essential skill. As you may have noticed, you do have the ability to flip between 2 cameras. And here is just a little bit of an overview of some of the key slots, the most important of which is the power button, which is on the right side of the keyboard. So before we go further, who would like to maybe just walk us through really quickly, how do you find the camera on the Chromebook and how do you flip it? Who wants to volunteer to walk us through this one? I see, how about Lissa KAMC?
That's us. Hi, Megan. This is Peter. We're James's parents in 4th grade.
Nice.
Hi.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we were the ones who were flipping it and having a selfie party. But Peter found it. Peter figured out that there's a camera here and a camera here. So in order to flip it around, you not only have to press it on the screen, but then you have to go like this, and then you can. Then it's like your iPhone where you can take a picture of.
And where was the camera on the screen again? Where did you find it?
Right here.
Well,
right?
Yeah, no, you hit the button in the bottom left, and then you hit camera.
Oh, I see. But the camera itself is right here.
Right. But
yeah, the camera itself, and then the camera
So,
apps. Yes. So again, if you haven't yet found that camera app, thanks for showing us where the cameras are. That's important. The camera app can be found by tapping on the bottom left and then looking at the camera app and being able to switch between both. The reason I bring this up, thank you so much for the demo, you guys. That was awesome. So basically what happens sometimes is during a Zoom, I've gotten emails from parents being like, my kid's on Zoom, but the camera's facing the wrong way, like, or, they're trying to take a picture. So just know that if that happens on the actual Chromebook, you can go to the camera app by tapping on that little menu button on the bottom. Or if you're in Zoom, there's a little arrow next to the little camera icon on the bottom that you can tap on that to switch between the front facing and the back facing cameras. And we'll see that in just a little bit here. But any questions so far on any of these things? We'll review it all, but I'm glad to see everybody's poking, pushing buttons. That's what this is all about. So now that you've explored the camera and a little bit of the hardware, let's talk a little bit about the distance learning website. So you might notice that on the top left of your kid's computer is a little folder with the words that say school tools and sites. So this is a little series of shortcuts that we've built in to simplify how the kids can navigate to some of the sites that we use. But they should have, and if they haven't, maybe we can help them. They should have bookmarked the distance learning website, or you should actually see it as an option. Do people see the distance learning site listed in school tools and sites? Give me a thumbs up if you do. Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and navigate to that site and let's take a look at it together. The first thing that I want to mention is within the distance learning site at the top for 5th grade is the kind of the weekly static schedule. And below that is a Google Calendar that I promised to finish by end of day Friday, but I just haven't had a chance to. The goal of the Google Calendar is that you as parents can add a layer to your Google Calendars if you're Googly. 4th grade, you're going to notice that one of the things we did for students was to kind of help them learn how to use Google Classroom and kind of navigate this new upper school life that they're living, that there's a live daily schedule that lives right below the static schedule. And that's carrying over from 3rd grade. Our 5th graders, unless you're a new student, have used Google Classroom before and are more comfortable navigating, but with your help, we'll fill those gaps. Another important thing to mention is if you're looking at the, let's say the static schedule or even the live daily schedule, if you notice, you can scroll within the schedule itself to get to things that are below, or in the top little corner of each doc, there's like a little button that appears when you hover over it. And if you click it, it opens that document in a new window. So if you want to open it in its own window, when you're hovering over the doc in this distance learning site, just tap that and it'll open it in a new tab. Questions on that? Okay, sweet. All right, so once again, the school tools and sites pair very nicely with the password worksheet that you all may have hopefully in front of you. And if you don't have it in front of you, here's some screenshots. But essentially what we tried to do during weeks when we were in person, and we will continue to do once we get back in person, is we tried to fill these password worksheets out with all the essential info. The way Chromebook is, once kids are signed into this first thing, their Google site, they won't need to put in that password again, right? Because Google Chromebooks are basically devices that take you straight through to a filtered and moderated Chrome browser. That's really in essence what the Chromebooks are.
I think I missed where the password sheet was. I'm sorry, I don't know.
So the password sheet was sent home with kids. And so if they should have it in a plastic sleeve inside of their backpack or inside of one of their packets. So you can check in with your kiddo to see if they have their password worksheet, maybe in a big plastic folder. And if not, I'm happy to email you the link so you could reprint it if you need to, or have one at the front office for folks to pick up.
Okay.
But this is, yeah, and totally, like, feel free to email me. I'll have an email at the end. Happy to send you another or leave one at the front office. So again, the Google account, right, once they're logged into their Chromebooks, some of these things like BrainPop, it's another one we use. BrainPop is one, Newsela, they all have like a Google or G Suite button. And so if you're going to those sites, you should just always tap that Google button and choose the kid's Google account. In 4th and 5th grade, kids can only email other people with a Marin Horizon email. So they could email with each other, we moderate that, they can email their teacher. In 4th and 5th, we don't allow them to email other people. As needed, we can add tutors or kind of, a la carte, make exceptions, but we're trying to, as a part of our digital citizenship program and safety, like not necessarily give them full access for so many reasons. Any questions on this? If something does come up where, let's say a child is asked to go to IXL, right? You see that as an option, or maybe like Big Ideas Math. Those things are all listed in the school tools and sites. And like IXL, we have a special Marin Horizon login page. So if they get stuck, just know that you should always start with school tools and sites and get that password worksheet out. And hopefully that password was written properly. If some of those password worksheets made it home and they're completely demolished, happy to send you another one. We may have the kids rewrite those once they come back in person, because I know that as they were leaving, there's a lot of crumpled up, looked like a dog maybe chewed on it, and that's just how it goes. That's life. Okay, so that's kind of the navigation piece on the Chromebooks themselves. Google Classroom is what we're using, kind of evolving beyond Seesaw. And Google Classroom has, we'll take a look at the student view, and then we'll also review the Guardian summaries. Now, I want to preface this by saying, did everybody here receive the invitation to become a Guardian summary or receive a Guardian summary? If you haven't, please do send an email to techhelp@Marin Horizon. But there's a couple of things about the Guardian summaries that I'll talk about. You do need a Google account to take full advantage of it. The Guardian summaries is not the magic bullet solution here. It's going to give you some high-level information so that you can have a conversation with your kiddo. But it'll at least give you a little bit more clarity around maybe things they're missing, things that are coming up, and just a peek at what teachers are sharing. But you're always welcome to sit next to your child on their Chromebook and see the full experience. On Google Classroom, I'm going to ask everybody to navigate to Google Classroom. There are a couple of ways to get there. So I'm going to exit out of here for a moment, and I'm going to go to our test student for 4th and 5th grade, so that I can show you. So in this school tools and sites should be the link to Google Classroom. And you'll notice on here that all the classes that your child is in are going to be listed. as little squares. And I've been running Zoom calls all day, so I apologize. This might be a slow load. But every class has its own Google Classroom. So I don't think study hall is the best example. I don't think there's too much homework happening there. But if we go to, for example, to Spanish, there's basically 3 sections in every Google Classroom. There's the stream, which is like social media, Instagram, Facebook. I don't use TikTok, but I know that's a thing. But basically the newest thing always goes on top. So it's like a social media stream. Classwork is the main place where your kids are going to be living in terms of completing their work. So like they might see that there's something that's due. They might see that there's some material that a teacher has shared with them that they can view. And so this is kind of a place where, you know, if you're seeing an alert in your Guardian summary that there's some work that's missing, you can maybe sit down with them and kind of just take a look together and see maybe what's going on there. The people tab we don't use as much, but this just shows all the classmates and then the teachers. And I'm going to switch back to here because I just wanted to talk a little. Oh, there's actually 2 more things I wanted to show you. So everybody here should definitely have a password worksheet and a paper planner. I know that the 4th and 5th grade teachers wanted to emphasize that the paper planner should be like the way, because they're trying to build executive functioning skills and make sure kids are writing things down and don't lose that skill. The paper planner is like the main place to keep your assignments. But what's cool is Google Classroom, from the child's perspective, has a to-do list and a calendar. So they can actually click the to-do option and they can see things that are maybe assigned that are coming up. So here's the assignment with the due date. The class is underneath it with the due date, and you could click on any of these and it takes you to the assignment. So for some things like this, just as an example, Kathy is asking 5th graders to ask kids to spend 15 minutes more in their perspective drawing and attach a photo. And this is where that camera skill might come in handy, right? As a kid, I can see this is the assignment. Looks like there's a video with a walkthrough, and then I might want to add a file with my picture. And then when they're done, they click mark as done. Now with Google Classroom, I think this is important to mention. Last year with Seesaw, kids could just go to Seesaw, click the add button, and the camera was built in. It's a little different with Google Classroom, where if kids are being asked to take a photo and submit it, they actually have to navigate to the camera app in the bottom corner, like we just practiced with, take the picture, so that they can then go to Google Classroom and then they can add that file and upload it from their machine. And if they do that, the kids will see their picture. And we're practicing that in a lot of places. So just know that it's a little different in that with taking pictures of a math assignment or an art project or a selfie or whatever, they need to use the camera app built into their Chromebook so that it's on their computer, and then they can go to Google Classroom and add that file. Any questions on that? Okay, so the final thing I'm just going to mention, so we just looked at the to-do list, which is again at the main Google Classroom page when you first begin. And come on, internet. There we go. So again, in the to-do section, we had what's assigned. You can specifically look at what's still missing, and that'll show you all the things that you're probably getting your alerts about if you're signed up for the Guardian summaries. And then you can also go to the done section just to celebrate all the amazing things you've accomplished. And test student has done no homework. They're a terrible example of a student. I'm sure your kids have done much better. Okay, so final thing here is there's the to-do list in their classes. But there's also a calendar, and this is really nice because it lets you see it in the weekly view, which kind of mirrors what the paper planner. The paper planner is in fact looking like. So I can look at everything that's due for this week, or even skip ahead to next week. But I can also just look at, well, what's just due for social studies, right? Or maybe what's just due for readers workshop. So you can look at everything at once, or you can break it down by class. And similarly, you can click on this and then go straight to the assignment. You can see here, we haven't disabled the ability for kids to chat, and we keep that open for the most part until We get like a hackathon, and we have like 40 of those. So with that being said, I'm just going to mention a couple other little things. When a kid submits an assignment that's like a Google Doc, for those of you familiar with Google, it'll lock them out of being able to edit it, and that's by design. So like if a kid is working on their assignment, they submit it to the teacher, it locks it so the teacher can provide feedback and then send it back to them if they need to redo anything. But all of this is kind of going back and forth. It's a shell that lives on top of Google Drive. So one of the things that we've helped kids do is organize their Gmail inboxes a little bit, because they get an alert in their inbox whenever there's like an assignment that's posted or something that comes up. So kids can live just in Google Classroom and just check everything there, but their Gmail is another place where those updates come through to remind them. Or if a teacher's returned something, it emails them an alert. So I won't get too into the weeds here because I reviewed a lot of this, but I will share this presentation after today's session, so that if you want to review this and dive a little bit deeper into some of like kind of the nuances of the assignments and how document sharing works behind the scenes, that slide's available. If a student accidentally submitted their assignment and they want to unsubmit it, they are welcome to unsubmit it and redo it, but the teacher can see that they did so. And it's kind of, again, for classroom management. Finally, in the view your work section in classwork, there's a place that if the teacher's using the grading feature in Google Classroom, they can review their assignments and kind of check and see you know, what feedback they've gotten from the teacher in that way. I've put in a link with more information from Google, but I hope that this is helpful. Are there any other Google Classroom questions or things that have come up for folks that's kind of vexing them?
Quick question. So the only thing we then see as a guardian is the email summary that we receive,
Yes.
either daily.
Yes.
Or weekly. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of, again, more of a conversation starter or a check-in. Really, in the end, like literally, you know, going over and going onto the Chromebook, whether it's with your child or, you know, checking it through there. Google Classroom is designed to be accessible for teachers and students, and then provide parents that summary, but there isn't like a way to add you, you know, to be an active participant in the class. But, you know, again, it is something where if parents really wanted to have a little bit more of an insight throughout the day, you know, we're all about creating autonomy and supporting kids. You could, in theory, download the Google Classroom app on your phone and log in with your kid's email. That's another way if you want to, but it sounds like you're okay with the configuration. I can respect that. We get so many, we have so much to manage already, and we're trying to take that off your plates as much as we can. Here's just
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Tatiana, sorry about the Google Classroom.
Yeah.
We did Google Classroom with my son a few years ago, and they had the option at his school to do it for daily, like a daily notification or weekly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
does that also, do you have that option too at Burn Horizon?
Yes. So basically, that's kind of part of the Google ecosystem. So if you go back to that same email that you got the invitation from, you can click back on it and switch it over to weekly if the daily summaries are too much, or switch it back. The one disclaimer I'd say is that's going to be a really, really long email and you might miss something important. But if you maybe like feel like you want to switch to weekly, I'm you know, do what works for you. I just suggest you start with daily, and if it's too much, you can go back to that email, click the button, and it'll take you to a page where you can switch, you know, to weekly.
I think daily's great. Thanks.
Okay, sure. Any other
question? Yeah. So is this separate from the GoGuardian thing?
Yes, this is
Okay.
separate. So Google Classroom is like, you know, what we use as our learning management system and how we hand out assignments and collect them. The Guardian summary is a parent piece that allows parents to get like a daily email with kind of information about academic stuff. The GoGuardian invitation, which we'll talk about in just a couple slides, is a way for you to help monitor your children's internet usage. So the GoGuardian piece is more for like internet control, being able to disable internet at a certain time, or check and make sure that they're not going too off task in the evenings or even during the school day. It gives you kind of peers back that curtain so you can kind of see where they might be exploring. And just know we're filtering heavily for 4 or 5, but just it gives you that it takes away the curtain. Any other questions on Google Classroom or summaries? If you don't have a Gmail, I know that for some folks that, you know, had a Hotmail or other account, It is worth setting up a Gmail for this if you don't have one, and I'm happy to spend some time. Just it wouldn't be a long session, but help you forward messages from Gmail to whatever email system you use, because that's just one way to set up the Gmail, let it collect the summaries, and then push it over to your regular email.
Quick question. Sorry,
Yes.
I think to explain this. But when you just mentioned, is this different than the GoGuardian? I was thinking it was all the same. So we got a separate email about this.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2 emails that we should be looking for.
Yes. So the Guardian summaries from Google Classroom, that actually came from Google, and you can just search your inbox for Guardian summaries.
Okay.
Or Guardian summary. And that came last Thursday. That's when I sent those out.
Okay.
The GoGuardian parent internet filtering app is something you would have gotten today around 11 a.m.
Okay, got it.
So let's see. So let's talk a little bit about safety. So again, there's ways that we're filtering behind the scenes through our Google Administrator Console. We're filtering YouTube in 2 places. And we also have these 3 GoGuardian apps that we're using in different places. I manage the admin one, which filters internet 24/7. I only get an alert if a child is going into super strange places, and I've been forwarding those to parents as they come up. But kids are kids, and they're going to be curious, and they're going to try to do things, and we're filtering for a lot of those. We're blocking like Bitcoin mining, gambling, obviously pornography, anything that's flagged on YouTube that's not listed as not appropriate for over 12 years old or whatever. I think that's the threshold. We're filtering YouTube in our admin console and in GoGuardian. And I originally had YouTube turned off earlier this week, and I realized some teachers were using it, arts teachers are using it for instruction. And I think that the way that the filtering we're doing is so intensive that I think that'll be okay. Did you have a question? Oh, okay. All right. So again, this is a high level, kind of the places where we're filtering in the behind the scenes. The parent part is where you come into play. And we also use something called UBlock. It's a Chrome extension. It just blocks ads. Sometimes when kids go to certain sites, whether it's pbs.org or even our typing games that we have available as part of our typing program, it blocks out any ads that'll be tempting for them to click on or distract them. And so that's just running behind the scenes on Chromebooks and on all of our computers. So again, Google Safe Browsing, this is the setting we have for K through 8. It's much more restricted in the lower grades. YouTube is set to the most restrictive setting in Google itself. And then in GoGuardian on the admin side, I'm also filtering YouTube, but I haven't turned it off. But I can turn it off if it needs to be. It's just this last little switch. Okay, and so again, we're using GoGuardian Teacher during the school day. Some of you may have received an email from a teacher if your kids were chatting in Google Hangouts, which we've kind of disabled for now. We've also let the teachers just run this behind the scenes. If they feel like a kid is just not paying attention or wasn't engaged, they might peek at it and just check and see if the child was totally going off task. They're not trying to monitor it like Big Brother, but they might just keep those windows open if they're asking kids to go to IXL. They want to make sure that they can see 22 IXL screens and not something different. But it's more running behind the scenes as a chance to help teachers manage the classroom in the same way that if the kids are in a classroom, that a teacher might scan the room and look at all the computers. So that's the goal for GoGuardian. It only runs during that particular class for that particular teacher. We're not monitoring every single thing 24/7. We're filtering 24/7, but the class time is when teachers may use this tool. Okay, here we go. This is where you guys come in. So again, because even though we're filtering behind the scenes, we felt like it was important to give you guys the opportunity to kind of take an more active role in kind of monitoring internet. And so all of you should have received the GoGuardian parent email from me, inviting you to download the parent app onto your mobile device. And this is a good time to do it if you haven't. What it's going to do is when you download the app and open it, it's going to ask you to enter in the email that you received the invitation to. So that's whatever I emailed you to, and it's the email that's part of our parent Google group. It's then going to send you a confirmation email. You want to ideally open that confirmation email on your phone so that it validates it directly with the app. If you open that email on your computer, it'll give you a PIN code, but there's a couple of ways to do it. And I have a video, a 1-minute video here in a little bit where we'll walk through some of the features, but I encourage you all at this point to at least download the app itself and enter in the email so that that confirmation email is waiting for you. Any questions on this?
So I sent an email back to you, just so you know, but when I do that on my phone, it just says that it's not linked to a student account. So I sent an email back.
Oh, okay. And that's James, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
again, this was,
Yeah, same here.
Same here. Okay. So
That's
thank you
Mia.
for this information. I did this manually, to be completely transparent, late at night. So there may have been some typos. So I apologize I know I got an email from at least, I think it was just one parent. So this is great. The statistics are still good. But James Bryan and Mia Terfor, anybody else?
And
maybe we.
yeah, Tanya, Liam Weiner. So I've got 2 students, and Miles'
Yes.
account was connected, but Liam's was
Okay.
not.
Happy to take a look at this after, it'll be around 7:45 after my middle school
No problem.
session.
Tatiana, I can't get on. Mine's not working either.
And that's Ashley?
Ashley McDonald. And
Yes,
I can't
okay.
figure out if it's the Gracie copy, but I can't get either.
Got it. So
Thank you.
I will
This
take
is
a look
Steve
at both.
Siskin. Same with mine.
So it seems as if maybe I hit a lull in the 4th and 5th grade parent emails. So this is great. I will actually check all of them, but I will check all those for you guys. So far I have James Bryan, Mia Terfor, Liam Weiner, Ashley McDonald for both Poppy and Gracie, and then Avalon. Anybody else having that issue?
Tatiana, this is Angie Noss. I have it set up. It worked perfect for Grayson, but like in the drop down, I don't see an option to select Tanner, so I don't know how to.
Got it. By the way, your audio is a little garbled, so you sound like a robot, but you're totally legible because I speak robot. So
What
great.
was
So
the
I
issue
will.
that people were seeing, just to make sure that I don't have this issue.
Who's
Chloe's
speaking?
mom,
Oh,
Cynthia.
Chloe, there you are, Cynthia. Thank you. So are you also not seeing?
What's the? I might have been able to get in.
Oh yeah, if you see that, you're in.
Okay,
Yeah.
then mine worked.
Awesome. Okay, great. So for folks that weren't able to get in, again, I'll have to take a look after my last session, but I will email all the folks here and just check the entire 4th, 5th grade parent group, because that's where I seem to have missed some folks. But I promise to take care of that this evening. The final thing I wanted to mention on the filtering and the home use is just that there's an app extension called Stay Focused, which we may introduce to the 4th, 5th graders. We do it mostly in middle school, but it allows kids to set their own limits. If they know a website that they've identified that they're totally obsessed with and they want to kind of practice some self-control, Stay Focused is an app that's available to them that allows them to set their own kind of time limits and cut them off of a website after a certain number of hours each day. That's part of our kind of self-regulation skill building that we are trying to introduce as part of our digital citizenship program. I do work with the 5th grade kids every Friday, period 4, and I'm meeting with the 4th graders on Wednesday afternoons to kind of do a little bit of tech training and make sure that we're taking care of anything that they need. We think that it's important for them to know, and then do some possible coding as well as the semester settles. So as I had mentioned, right, these are, we're kind of working on guiding their focus with the teacher tools, and then also encouraging them to self-regulate as well. And we'll get more into that in the next couple of weeks. Screen shader, this thing here, I disabled it temporarily, but we're going to re-enable it. It just changes the color of the screen naturally as the day passes, so that it becomes more orange over time to help with circadian rhythms and that blue light issue that, if we're using devices late at night, that it kind of affects our ability to fall asleep more naturally. So that's something the kids can customize as well once we re-enable it, probably early October. All right, so here's the GoGuardian piece. I'm going to just play this 1-minute video just because it shows you a nice walkthrough, and this is a I'll be sharing the slides like I mentioned, but this gives you like a little walkthrough. Let me know if you can hear this.
Hello, and welcome to an overview.
Could you hear? Okay, great. So I'm going to play this. It's just 1 minute.
Hello, and welcome to an overview of the GoGuardian Parent app. With GoGuardian Suite's Parent app, school administrators can now give parents direct access to student online activity reports and filtering controls for school devices. The simple app is managed by administrators so they can choose what activity parents will see and what controls they have access to. But the app is downloaded and used by parents on their own. By giving parents direct access with this app, parents won't have to make requests for individual reports, and schools can reduce manual work for their IT staff. Using the app, parents can stay more informed about their child's online activity on school-issued devices. They can review top 5 reports and access a more detailed browsing history. If the school also uses GoGuardian Teacher, parents can see how often teachers have issued intervention commands. And now, with new filtering controls, parents can better manage their students' internet access at home. They can block specific websites on school-issued devices during out-of-school hours and pause the internet, either on demand or at a scheduled time. For more information about the GoGuardian Parent app, visit GoGuardian.com or talk to a GoGuardian representative today.
Kind of a high level of GoGuardian Parent. I encourage you to explore and try it out. See if you can just freeze the internet if you need to, and then reach out to us if you have questions. Okay, so I know we're getting here to the home stretch. Home setup and troubleshooting. Just want to review a couple quick tips and tricks for internet signal, connecting your printer to the Chromebook, any computer issues, and Zoom tips. So troubleshooting internet signal. So many of you may know this, but basically the internet, right? It's one big cable running, infrastructure running all over the world, under the ocean, on power lines, all over the place. And it goes to your house. It enters in at a certain point, and then you have this cable modem. Some apartments have it kind of built in, but most of you will have a cable going to a cable modem box, which connects directly to the internet, and then to a Wi-Fi box. This Wi-Fi box or router might sometimes be wired, but we're mostly wireless these days. And that can be great, but it can also slow things down if you have a lot of people using the internet at once. So if your kids are finding that their Zoom isn't quite as good as it could be, there's a couple of things you can do. One is you can actually wire their computer to the wireless box. There's Ethernet ports. I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. And if you want to do kind of a consultation, if your internet has been terrible, there are things that like we can do to tune your internet. The most extreme might be to call your internet provider to upgrade, or even get like a new wireless box. I've had the same one for 8 years, and I know I'm up for an upgrade. And there's also a lot of really great programs for internet subsidies out there. So feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to talk through it. One thing you could do that's really easy, every kind of week or two, we power cycle our router, and there's steps here, but in a nutshell, we literally pull the power cables out of our wireless router and cable modem, unplug it, 30 seconds, plug it back in, and many times that really seems to help. Internet seems to get corrupted or just kind of, you know, deconstruct or self-destruct over time. Wi-Fi boosters, we've got a couple of these in my house. If you have your wireless box in one part of the house and your kids are learning way in the other side through a couple of doors, you may want to get these like $20, $30 Wi-Fi boosters. We've got a couple in the tech office, not too many. Mostly for financial aid families, but we do have these boosters that you can set up, and you can literally set it up near your wireless box through your phone, get it going, and then plug it in that back bedroom or that corner of the house, and it just does wonders with the internet signal. Highly recommend one of those or a few of those if you're having issues like that. Again, if you need to, just literally getting a cable from the Chromebook, and if someone's interested, we can talk about the cable that it is. We have a couple extras in the tech office, and you just plug into the Wi-Fi box to one of the Ethernet cables. So getting to the home stretch here, printing. I won't go into the full details, but there are steps to be able to connect your printer to your Chromebook. If you have a wireless printer, you should be able to just hit Control-P or hit the print menu. And then under the destination, it'll show up on the top left. There's like an arrow, and it may just detect your printer automatically if it's set up on the network. There's a way you can add it yourself by clicking on the time on the bottom of your kid's computer, going to settings, and there's steps here. I encourage you to check out this slide that I will share with you, because I'm sure setting up the printer to the Chromebook may be necessary for some folks. And if things get really weird with that Chromebook, please restart it. Remember, on the right side of the keyboard, there's the power button. Just like people, computers need a break, they need a restart. And you can hit that power button to turn it off, give it a couple minutes, maybe give it the night, and then fire it up again. And 99% of the time, our issues with tech are solved by a restart. And then I have just a couple of Zoom tips and tricks that I won't get into, but I encourage you to review this. And also, I have a link I have to add, a couple of how-to videos. If you are having Chrome issues, again, if your camera's facing the wrong way or your kid's camera's facing the wrong way, this is the bottom menu bar that kids see. This little arrow will let you switch between the front and back cameras. And again, if anything comes up, please do email us at Tech Help. We are here to help. The dust is settling for us, for our small but mighty team of one full-time and one part-time person. And we are now able to help with some of the things that are less critical, but maybe are something you want to tune. So that's the official presentation. I wanted to see if there are any specific questions that came up or anything you were curious about in the next couple of minutes.
I have a quick question, and it might be more specific to the help desk, but we keep having the same issue of when the teacher shares the screen,
oh yes,
we press escape and do all of that, but we have no way of, our toolbar, like the chat, everything goes away. And I literally have Googled everything about it. And,
so Joanne, I'm gonna, Debbie, our IT support manager, is working tomorrow. I'm gonna have her reach out to you guys to schedule a one-on-one session so we can kind of continue to see what's going on. And on the most extreme case, we might just swap it out with another Chromebook and see if it's a hardware thing.
Okay.
But there's a couple of things we can try. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, no problem. That was it.
Any other questions or thoughts? If not, oh, Pam.
Sorry. So I just want to let you know, I downloaded the app and I have Ellie on there, but not Alexandra Zissimos. Should it just automatically pop up?
So let me confirm the multiple, more than one child, but it should just pop up. So I've noticed for 4th and 5th in particular, there's an issue with some parents not being connected to their kids. So I'm going to work on that this evening, and I'll pretty much email all the 4 or 5 parents. I'll just email the group and say, please check your GoGuardian parent again, so that we can get you all online.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Other
yes? Same thing with us. I can see all our kids, but my wife can't. She can't see Kai in 3rd grade, but she can see Manu and Neo in 5th and 6th.
All right, thanks for letting me know. I will investigate your wife's email connection or relationship to the kids.
Salamine Pastel.
Yes. Yeah, so I know she's in the system, so we'll take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
I may have misunderstood, and apologies if I did, but do we need to have Gmail accounts in order to even receive the GoGuardian invitation?
I thought that was the case, but if it isn't, because I had a couple of people with like Hotmail accounts reach out that weren't able to receive the notification. Can you let me know? Because I was reading that I think you need a Gmail, but if you are able to, then that's great.
Because I have a Hotmail, which I love, because who's going to hack Hotmail? I mean, really. So, but I don't believe that I got the invitation. I'll have to go back and look, and it's.
Oh, okay. So let me check.
I think I did, but and if I did, I'll try and let you know.
All right, so I will double check that. I've put it in my notes, but it might be that Hotmail may not allow for it. So I will. We can kind of be we can be the beta testers. And confirm that.
Okay. I have an email account too. I just never use it. But
okay, we can always again set up a forwarding from your Gmail to Hotmail. There's a way to set that up pretty easily.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And again, you guys, everyone, we are currently in the distance learning mode, and we will be transitioning most likely in the next few weeks, I think early October, to an in-person or hybrid model of some sort. And we're still figuring out the details on that. So the devices will continue to go between home and school. And again, our goal is we have like a whole like sanitation procedure. We have like the right isopropyl alcohol, water, thing that we're going to be setting up to make sure that things are sanitary in that transition. And, you know, we're going to continue to send the devices home because we're now a one-to-one take-home device program at Marin Horizon. With this GoGuardian parent app, hopefully that's eased many of your concerns on that tip. And just know we're keeping the safety of your kids in mind, as well as making sure that they're digitally literate and ready for the world that awaits them. Again, I encourage you all to email the tech help email if anything else comes up. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining this evening. I really appreciate you guys showing up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tatiana, I wasn't able to get into the Google Classroom. I got the email for it, but then it didn't, I've tried it several times, and I have a Gmail, and I put in my email, and it just goes to like the Google Classroom image, and it just doesn't load. So I'll email you about that.
Please do. Yes. Yes. That would be great. Yes. Thank you for letting me know. And then just email me. Excuse me? I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Tolan, I don't know. You had a question?
I did. I just wanted to, this is fantastic, Tatiana. Thank you. And we're due up again for 7th grade in about an hour. Is it the same content, or is it different enough? Is it a different device? That one as well?
It's a little different because the kids use MacBooks, and it's actually in 8 minutes, and I have to do a little bit of prep.
Sure.
But yeah, you'd be welcome to join, or I will be sending out the recording, so you can always catch that. And the part that will be different is the device itself, like the overview of the device. It's up to you.
But everything else, the GoGuardian access is the same.
Yeah,
okay.
all that should be the same.
Thank
Otherwise,
you so much.
you're welcome. Nice to see everybody. I'm going to end the meeting for now, but encourage you to reach out. We're here all year. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
That was great.
Cynthia.
Yes,
Thank
Cynthia.
Thank you.
So sweet.
Yeah, he's sleeping right now.
Yeah,
you guys.
So cute.
Really quickly.
Oh.
Chloe's baby brother.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
See you guys soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.